Today I will be discussing regarding importance of geophysical methods. Last class I have discussed regarding geophysical methods, and today I will be discussing what are the importance of the geophysical methods and present law regarding the water management and water footprints. Now, the importance are not only getting water. In last class I have discussed how to extract water from the seismic method and electrical resistivity method. Here, not only in civil engineering and mining, environmental studies and geotechnical investigation much more used here. Mining is a large industry. Majorly it is being taken by the government. Private miners are also there. So when they are starting the mining, they should know how much of resources are there, how much money they can earn. That calculation can be done by geophysical method. So how much environment is being polluted or contaminated and how much resources are there. So these things can be studied in environmental studies. It is a quick, economic and accurately it can identify. Now one by one let us discuss here. Primarily we know that for groundwater exploration we use two methods, a seismic refraction method or reflection method and electrical resistivity method. It identifies the groundwater bearing zones called aquifers, and suitable boring sites are being identified. The water has been extracted. Also it identifies the fractured zones. Fractured zones are where high amount of water, groundwater will be there. Whenever you find a fracture zone there, the water is quickly penetratable there, and the penetrated water can be taken. It will be large amount of water in a short span of time. Weathered zones are naturally formed zones in some places. Imagine people would have dug a well there and they would have closed the well and they would have sailed the site. So those who are coming to buy that new site, they are unaware that this is a place of a well. So they start constructing, and after some days only they know that they are being constructed with a site which is already a well. So what will happen? There will be a settlement there. The building settles, whatever structure is standing above that will settle. So due to that there will be problem or there might be failure for that structure. So this can be identified and detects recharge zones. Natural formed or weathered zones will not have any problem. The groundwater penetration can be easily identified. 40 to 60% of borewell failures can be reduced here, and the success rate of geophysical methods are 70 to 80%. Determination of subsurface. There might be some wells earlier. So these things can be identified only by exploration of the subsurface. You see that it does not consist of rock. Certain places consist of rock even below 1 meter or 2 meter. But certain places, if you go so deep, maybe 12 to 15 meters, you will not find a hard rock. So these kind of status are there. Before identifying that, if you purchase a land, imagine you are starting to construct G plus 30-story building. Imagine Burj Khalifa, which has been constructed in a seaside. Hard strata is very hard to identify. So if you are digging so deep only, you will get the hard strata. That they have to identify, and according to the height of the building, the foundation should go. So for that you should identify the subsurface. Imagine there is a high rainfall, this water will penetrate into the soil. When it is penetrating, you should know how much stable the soil will and how much of groundwater you will have. Not only constructing the house, the engineer should provide the water. How much water is available? Constructing a nearly 900 meter building, and the water has to be supplied for them. Where is the source of water? Where you can identify these things, and you can find that approximate water level, and this is the natural water level. Here they are finding by using this geophysical investigation, and whenever there is rainfall, from here the water will be taken. And you can see number of bores are here. Bores can be dug to this much of deep so that the natural water can always be extracted. Combination of soils, clay, sand, weathered rock, hard rock and bedrock. So these are the different subsurface could be identified. Next thing is foundation investigation for civil engineering. You can see all the buildings are constructed by laying a foundation. So when you are excavating the soil, you know that how much excavation should be done. If below that there is a unstable soil, in the sense you have to further excavate, and when you are getting a bedrock, then only you should stop, then start constructing the foundation to proceed the structure. Not only for buildings, you are constructing dams, road. When the roads are laid, we can see that some roads are having potholes, some roads are having much undulations. Hump will come. Immediately there will be a hump, there will be a dip or depression in a road. These things are not artificial, they are natural, because the foundation is not laid strong, so that the road is not very flat. And for designing that, tunnels, airports, etc. You see the image here. This is a process of construction of a bridge. So when you are starting to construct a bridge, soon after some time the water will flow here. So when the water is flowing, the foundation should not be so weak, so it has to be excavated, and the foundation investigation like this is being done by geophysical methods of survey. So it reduces structural failure. In roads we see cracks, in buildings we see cracks. These are all due to settlement. Rest of the things are due to material and structure. This improves the design safety, whatever is constructed. This is what I said, detection of faults and fractures. You see the image here. Whenever there is a high rainfall, this is called fault zone. Fault zone is naturally the earth crust is not a single plate. It consists of multiple plates. So when you are having a small multiple plate, there is movement between the tectonic plates. All the larger plates are in movement. It is not in same direction. Each continental plates have different direction. Like that, there is a micro zones. There is a micro fracture zones. So these zones are moving one place to another. Earth is not a stable place. There is a small movement below the earth. So this creates this kind of fault. So what happens naturally when the rainfall is penetrating inside? Whenever there is a fault here, there is a large gap will be here below the soil. So from that, the water will immediately go quickly and it will stay in a aquifer. So this is called fractured or fault zones. And here you will be having high yielding borewell zones. If you bore here, you will get lots and lots of water, and you can supply it for the places where you are requiring. This is called high yield borewell zones. Around 2 to 5 times of groundwater availability will be there where you are having unfractured. Unfractured in the sense these zones are unfractured. The percolation of water will be very less here, but in fractured zones the percolation will be very high. So these deductions can be identified by the geophysical methods. Identification of bedrock depth. What do you mean by bedrock? I told that when you are starting the construction of road, if you are excavating this much of soil, the topsoil and the root zones here and subsoil, and you start constructing here, what will happen? This substratum will get settled. When the load is applied, this will get settled. And what happens? So due to this, your structure will be non-stable. So identification of bedrock is essential for construction of foundation for any structure. This has been identified by seismic and resistivity method for construction of bridges and dams. This saves the construction cost. If you are starting from here, what will happen? There will be structural failure and cracks. Next thing is identification of salinity and contamination reduction. Sir, I found the water, and when you are consuming that water, this is not fit for drinking purpose. Certain waters are there. Imagine if you are nearby the seashore, you have land here, and if you are boring here, the water, whatever you are extracting here, will be a salt water. If you want to drink it, you have to put number of filters in order to use. If you are far away from the zones, so there is a natural salt water intrusion into the soil. So there will be a curve here. So these things can be identified here, not only in ocean zone. When you are in a apartment and you are in an urban area, all the waters are being collected, the sewage waters, and it is being transported through the sewage pipelines and sewer lines. So this will be taken to a local streams, and this stream water will be very polluted, and it will be taken into the soil, and when it is taken below the soil, what happens, the contamination is also percolated here. When you are extracting a bore here, another person is extracting a water from here, so this person will also get a salt water, but this salt water is not a sea salt water mineral content. Here you will be having chemical content contaminations, and these things can be identified only by making a geophysical investigation. So these are the importance. Next thing is mineral oil and exploration. So not only for getting water, the geophysical methods, particularly seismic method, is used to find minerals, coal, petroleum and natural gas. There will be a large number of bore here in order to extract the oil and gas recovery. So they will be providing exploration. Through that you can get gas, natural gas you can get, and it will be supplied to the industries and for the public. So this helps in identify the mineral oil exploration, and it supports in economic development. Environmental studies. We know that the groundwater might be contaminated or it might be pure. So how to identify that? How much of contamination is being done? So who contaminated? These things are there. So when you are extracting a water, you found that there is a contamination. So due to what effect it got contaminated? Either due to industrial leaks, some industry is leaking the waste below the soil, so this will penetrate into the soil and pollute groundwater. There might be pesticides, and due to that it penetrates into the soil and get contaminated. Like that, you are having number of reasons for landfill contamination. So you can identify and you can do a environmental studies by using this kind of geophysical method. And it is important to find where is the source of pollution, oil contamination, how much contamination is being done. These things you can identify. It saves cost. Nearly 80 to 2 lakh rupees will be spent if you are putting a physical bore. It takes only 5 to 10%, and it is quickly being done without any destruction of natural strata. Then this is a non-destructive method. It does not disturb the natural level of the soil. So these are the importance of geophysical methods. Now let us come to the second half of the session, which is present law regarding the water management. We know that water is very essential and it is a natural process. Through the modules what we have studied, it is a natural process. How much of water which we receive through the earth natural system is monsoon. So this much of water has to be preserved. When we are giving awareness and even technologies are there, people are not following that. In order to follow that, not only for people, for businessmen, industrialists and agriculturalists, you need a law in order to preserve this water, because we are the users of this water. For this, what are the laws? The water management in India, which is governed by constitutional provisions. Who are the three people who are consuming the water? Is people who are using for drinking purpose, and agriculture we are doing. For that we need more water, and for industries. So these are the major three zones where they use the water. Not only humans, even other species are also there. So that is called ecology. Naturally the water has to be in the natural state so that other living species can also consume that water. For everyone there is a law regarding water consumption and usage. Nearly 60 crore of people are facing high to extreme water stress due to water law and management, major national priority. Now let us discuss before independence and what was the law, how we preserve that water till today. If we are wanting to know the present law, we should know what are the existed law, and if you know that, then it holds the complete knowledge. Present law in the sense, all the laws are parallelly applicable. Whenever any law has been established, so you should know the complete comprehension in order to understand. Till now From the starting, what are the parallel laws are there? First one is Indian Easement Act, which has been legally framework by the government. What do you mean by this laws? If you are buying a land, imagine whatever groundwater you extract from that land or whatever resource you have in that land, this is infinitely which can be used by you. That is called Indian Easement Act. The groundwater ownership tied to the land ownership. So if you have a well, the complete water is yours. The landowner can extract unlimited groundwater. So there is no limitation here. There is no sustainability here. This is the disadvantage of that. And there is no regulation. If some people doesn't have a land, they cannot consume that water. They have to depend on the people who have the land and the well. First act is called Indian Easement Act, which came into existence in 1882 before independence. After independence, government enforced a law between the period 1947 to 1970. According to the 7th schedule, state list entry 17 of the constitution, the state have power over water supply. State in the sense state government. So state government is the primary trustee. They say that as state government as a trust who's owning the authority of the state water. State has to supply water for the people. Next thing, for irrigation purpose, for agricultural purpose, the state has to provide water. They have to supply through canals for different agricultural lands. Drainage, the excess water is being supplied, it has to drain, and to prevent waterlogging, whenever there is high rainfall, there will be waterlogging in urban places. So that waterlogging should not be there. That is the authority of the state government to make necessary action. If there is any rainfall, the state government has to take necessary action in order to provide drainage. There is no central government intrusions there. They have to provide embankment. What do you mean by embankment is whenever there is a possibility of storage of water for drinking purpose, if the people are suffering for drinking water, it is the responsibility of state government to provide the water for all the people. They have to provide this kind of embankment, store the water and supply. For construction of dam, the state government has to take creation of power, hydroelectric power plant. How much dams are being converted into hydroelectric power plant? It is a question mark. These are the initiation are taken by the state government in order to supply the power, in order to supply the water. How they are storing, how they are handling, these things are being discussed. Public trust doctrine. Courts have held that state is the trustee of all natural resources, including water. Not only water, all natural resources. It might be forest, landscape, mountains, minerals, etc. These are all natural resources. Now, interstate rivers. Water is not only flowing in a single state. Water is flowing in multiple states. Imagine a single river is flowing through 3 or 4 states. From India, these rivers flow. This is called Indus River and Sutlej River. These are the major 2 rivers which flows from here to the Pakistan. There is a dispute here. Wherever the water is traveling from more than one state, there will be a dispute. So what are the disputes here? In Punjab, Ravi, Beas and Sutlej. So this is called Beas. In Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. These states are having river disputes of Ravi, Beas and Sutlej. The Narmada is flowing from Madhya Pradesh to the Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and the tributaries are going through these places. So there is a interstate dispute. From north to south, if you take it, so there is Krishna River which is flowing from Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. So these rivers are being used by these 3 states. There is a dispute. The south you can see the Kaveri water which is flowing from Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. From here you have interstate dispute, and the Periyar river which is flowing from Tamil Nadu and Kerala. There is a dispute here. So as a central government, when the water is flowing from one state to another, there is a dispute. Since the water is a natural resources, it does not belong to any human being. Its natural ability is to flow. It flows according to the natural landscape. So people should not disturb the natural source. Entity 17 says that when the water is in this state, the water is their resources. When the water is flowing in this state, that is their resources. So these two states are having a dispute in the water. According to the law, there is a dispute, but there is no dispute in nature. These are the disputes which is being created by the law. So there should be a law which should be equal so that the disputes will be solved. Naturally, every human being are equally shared to have peaceful natural resources. When the law has been created, there might be some deviations, there might be some holes and some cracks. It has to be healed. Entity 56 says that the central government can regulate these cracks, can regulate these disputes, can regulate these interstate disputes. Parliament. So each state has to represent from their state to the parliament, Rajya Sabha. So they have to speak there, and from that it has to be solved. So central government is calling in entity 6, creating a parliament, and from there this dispute should be solved. There are two states, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and by these two, this dispute has to be solved. So what are the limitations? Due to this union list, central government and state government, there will be a dispute. Now comes Article 262, states that there is no complete central or no complete state power. It states that Parliament have a power to settle the disputes related to interstate river of water sharing. We have already discussed about the number of rivers. If there might be some disputes, in the sense Ganga is the river which river starts from Himalayas and it goes across all the states, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. Every state, maximum number of states, the Ganges flows. Finally, the Article 262 says that the Parliament have the power in order to take the dispute. Again, there is a right, Article 26 in Constitution, right to life. In that, the court have interpreted access to clean and pollution-free water as a part of right to life. So every human being or every citizen have right to life. That is, water is relevant to that. So they should have a clean water for every people. It is the responsibility of the government. Now, currently from 1970 to 1990, it changed from law to awareness. So when we are speaking on law, it states on central government and state government. There comes the dispute and who is powerful and what is powerful. This kind of, even states are not finding, central and state problems are there. Slowly the awareness is from 1970 to 1990 is government start initiated Water Prevention and Pollution Control Act. So from here awareness is being created. State Pollution Control Board and Central Pollution Control Board. SPCB is State Pollution Control Board and CPCB is Central Pollution Control Board. The state government holds State Pollution Control Board and central government holds the power of Central Pollution Control Board. They have given the norms regarding the quality of water. Slowly when we are start consuming the water, we start polluting. Humans consume the water, from every house sewage is created. Farmers consume the water and they let as runoff. Industrial people consume the water, they let as effluent. For all the consumption and discharge, there is a limit which is being set by central and state government. These are the contaminants. BOD, COD, these are all called biological oxidation demand, chemical oxidation demand. How much should be the turbidity, phosphorus, nitrogen, etc. So the government has provided awareness for each and everyone. If you are treating this water, then it should be lettered into the common form in a river or in ocean. So they have created the law. So this is the emblem of Central Pollution Control Board. They set the awareness in order to preserve that water. In 2024, the amendment says that not only government is holding the power, even people should also have the responsibility. Government has responsibility. People should also have responsibility. If any violation is done by people or a common man, industrialist, it is replaced in respective to that. Earlier in 1974, it was if you are polluting the water, there was replacement to financial penalties. Now recently in 2024 amendment, it replaced by imprisonment. If any industry is polluting the water, there can be lawsuit on them and it can be taken into imprisonment for the major pollution offences. Simplifies the consent procedures for industry. Majorly, if you are wanting to start any industry, you should get a consent from the government. They will give the consent only if they see the facilities, how much you are having in order to treat that water and send in the public form. When discussing in a wider phenomena, there comes Environmental Protection Act 1986. After the Bhopal gas tragedy, some companies are coming here in India and starting the, not only in India, any place. Some companies can come and they create a product. They leave large number of pollution to the environment. It might be for land, water and air. They pollute and they create product, they sell there, they create profit. Then this effluents are impacting the people and the living beings there. So due to that, Environmental Protection Act is being enforced in 1986. From that, it has been announced that there is a mandate and there is a setting of standards for consumption of water, land, air. Every year, every company has to give environmental impact assessment. Even if you are a owner of Apple company, you should give the environmental progress report. How much natural resources they have consumed, how much natural resources they are letting out. So what is the quality of that? They have to submit to the central government and state government. So this is called environmental impact assessment. So this has to be done by all the industries. Now let us come into groundwater. When we are consuming the groundwater in 1990 to 2010, the groundwater regulation phase is slowly coming in India. Before that, how much of groundwater if you are extracting, there is no person to ask question because due to this easement act, you are the owner of that place. Now there is a modern groundwater bill 1990 to 1996. The bill has been passed. And Central Groundwater Authority, you see here, you can visit this website. What are the norms are there, and they give license to wells. If constructing a new well, you should get license. The groundwater has a license. Extraction of groundwater, and you should get consent. This is not mandatory law, hence uneven adoption by the states. So Central Government Water Authority is been created in 1997, creating no objection. They are water suppliers. They should get no objection certificate from the Central Groundwater Authority. If they are constantly getting more water and extracting water, they should get NOC. Then the government will declare a critical zone. Critical zone in the sense there is no water in this state or this village. So government has to create embankment. They have to create rainwater harvesting, and the government has to provide the sufficient water by announcing as a critical zones. State government law, they can implement according to their state, according to their natural resources. They have to permit groundwater usage, community participation and protection of drinking water resources. Not only in Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu enforce natural rainwater harvesting for each and every house, and industry has to provide their own water conservation measures. And in recent era, after 2010, we have national water policy. What do you mean by that? Now we are in the phase of creating water is not only a legal binding, but is highly influential, treating water as an economic good. Now water is becoming a goods. In earlier days, water is termed to be as a resource. Now it is termed to be as a goods. Why? Because we are creating more number of products. According to national water policy, water has become as a goods. What they do is they treat water not only as natural resources, they focus on conservation, efficiency, and climate change adaptation. So, if naturally water level decreases, climate change also warmer, global warming is created. So, due to that, there is a tribunal court is being formed. Right to water as a fundamental right under Article 21. So there is a judicial development, National Green Tribunal. This is a court which is particularly meant for environmental related matters. What are the matters which is being discussed here? Particularly water regarding prevention and control of that for 1974. Water Cess Act. What do you mean by water cess is how much penalties is being collected, who is polluted, how much pollution is created. The forest, air, environmental protection, public liability insurance, biological diversity act coming under this National Green Tribunal Act. This is a part of Supreme Court announcement. Supreme Court announces that these kind of issues can be dealt by National Green Tribunal in order to quickly assess and give solutions. So if there is any pollution or contamination in these areas, the people or an industry, anyone can quickly go into National Green Tribunal court and get remedy. This provides strengthening of groundwater regulation, mandatory rainwater harvesting, digital monitoring of extraction, etc. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you.